Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Was good.
All right, this episode is sponsored by the upcoming film Selfie Dad. Going to be available on video on demand Father's Day weekend. Look for it on iTunes, Fandango Now, Prime Video, and Redbox on demand. The movie is starring Michael Jr. and Chonda Pierce. So make sure Father's Day weekend you tune in and check it out. All right.
Yo, we have a very special guest with us today. Ron G is with us. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Good, man.
Good.
We've if you don't know, Ron G is a comedian. He's a writer. He's a lot of things. And we've
I'm an Emmy Award winner.
Emmy Award winning writer.
I work for that one.
Emmy Award winning writer. First at bat to the Emmys too. And he's been a friend of ours for a long time, man. We've known him. He's from South Carolina?
I was born in South Carolina, yeah.
But we've known him since he's been in Atlanta, and it was a big part of our lives. So we're super proud of him and so grateful that he, stepped down from on high and graced the stage with us today. Because we have a lot.
I ain't stepped down from
we have a lot of respect for this young man. He's amazing. So thank you for joining us, man. And I asked, normally we have a special guest on. I want to get right to him and kind of get into it, but I asked him like, we got a lot going on. I want to hear what he has to say about what's going on. So if you haven't heard, check your pulse. But if you haven't heard, George Floyd was killed a few days ago, and the world is on fire. If you haven't seen the video, there's no way for me to describe how evil what happened to George Floyd was. What really touched me before I had even seen the video. I was hearing, people in the CHA community talking about how they knew this brother. They knew him. Like he was on a godly path. He was a contributor to Christian hip hop community. He was involved, man. This ain't just some random dude that you could just ignore. Like this guy was involved. And when I heard that, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be really bad. So when I finally saw the clip, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I couldn't watch the full unedited 9-minute clip until last night. I couldn't get myself to do it because I saw enough just with the edited stuff. But if you actually sit down and watch the full length, if you could walk away from that and not say anything, you have to check your heart. There's something wrong with you personally because it was so evil. Like I've literally been crying. And angry, sometimes laughing, but I've had all the emotions this past week because it's just been crazy. But those moments of laughter, because when somebody says something true that I wasn't expecting to hear, it like breaks the tension in my heart. And I wanted to ask you first, Ron G, as a comedian, I saw you put a clip up on Instagram, being able to laugh through times like this. How is that even possible? And what is your emotions around what happened with George?
It's crazy. One, because I actually didn't watch the whole video. I got legit PTSD.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was shooting a TV show when it happened. I was shooting a TV show. It was like one of those prank TV shows.
Yeah.
And halfway through me pranking somebody, the cops pulled up with their guns. And it was like a week or two after Sandra Bland died.
Yeah.
So during that time, it was like 3 people that died that was like very visible around the world. And I was shooting the show and the cops pulled up with guns. And the producers didn't stop the show. And they recorded the entire thing. And so to be in this position like that, not have anybody come rescue you, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then when I dropped the people off that I was pranking or whatever, I had a meltdown. And since then I was going to therapy and stuff like that. So back then I had my moment that people are having now.
Yeah.
Because I just realized it turned the switch on. So when I can't watch videos like that because it's triggering to me. So that's when I had mine. So the moment that people are having now, I had mine a long time ago. But this particular moment I felt like is a very intentional moment in time. This is the poke in the bear moment. This is the meeting in the conference room where you have to talk to your coworker about the unspoken. Like this is when you with your person and something's been going on for a long time but nobody said it. This is the reset button that I feel like God is having with the world, because everything we built this country on is revealed right now. We built this country on pride and stuff on being capitalism, and you realize capitalism is based off demand, and gas is the cheapest it's ever been. You know what I'm saying? And if it's off demand, then why are they giving away gas for $1? You know what I'm saying? You can get an airline ticket to Dubai right now for $7.
Wow.
And any other time, the ticket is at least $2,000. Especially, I couldn't go to my grandfather's funeral last year because the tickets were so expensive, and I was like, this is stupid. And again, I feel like this is a reset button from racism to privilege to lack of leadership and just capitalism. It's just a reminder that God just reminded us that everything is fragile right now, even our health, and we're still in quarantine and all this stuff is happening. This is just how fragile and how vulnerable we are, and this is the reset button. This is what, in order to heal something, you got to expose it, and this is the world and our particular country and the ugly side of us getting exposed so we can actually deal with it. So I'm kind of glad it's happening. I hate that, somebody had to be the face of it. And, it breaks my heart about what George Floyd, his family had to go through. But this is reconciliation moment.
Wow. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough week. There's a couple of things that have stood out in my mind. I mean, I've been watching news coverage for the last couple of days. I've watched people in our city go out. I've watched friends on social media post about it. But the thing that got me the most was the audio that was in the video, and hearing George call out his mom and talk about how he loved her, and to know that, she's dead.
Yeah, she had died.
And so, yeah. And so it was so scary because it was like he was calling out his own death, right? And I never seen that with someone who had not already been on their deathbed or prior, sick or something like that. So that part to me was just gut wrenching. Listening to his brother, talk about injustice and we need justice was really hard. Listening to him say, my big brother would never be here. Like, he has kids, things like that. It just, I was telling my mother yesterday, I was like, I feel that anger because a $20 bill or a counterfeit check or a counterfeit bill, whatever it was, is not enough for you to take a life, right? And it's not enough for us to sit here and feel that he should still be alive. He should still be alive. He really should still be alive. And it's just, man, when you look at the video and you look at the memes of the officer, he had his hands in his pocket. It was just so demoralizing. It was so devastating to see no emotion on his face. Like, he just didn't care. Like he was posing for the camera. That's what it looked like. It was like posing. That's what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there was absolutely he had no regard for that man's life. None. Like, there were people screaming, check his pulse. He's not moving. Check his pulse. He hasn't moved for 3 minutes. Get off of him and check his pulse. No, nothing. After he stopped moving, after they said he has no pulse, he didn't move his knee for another 3 minutes.
But what was the whole 8 minute of the knee thing anyway? Why didn't they just cuff him and put him in the back of the car and take him away? What was the need for the 8 minutes?
He was cuffed. He wasn't
cuffed. Okay.
He wasn't fighting.
Cuff him and put him in the car though. Like, why was he still on the ground?
He fell. And then they decided to keep him there. What they said was they called the EM because he was complaining about breathing before that, and they decided to hold him down instead of helping him like a normal human being would help somebody. The lack of care for his life was unbelievable. And the guy that was standing warding off people, the cop that was standing up that you see in the video and in the clips.
Is that the Asian guy?
Yes, he had no regard. And I don't know if this is true. Again, internet stuff, you don't know what's confirmed until it's confirmed. But they have a relationship. I think the white officer that was kneeling is married to his sister or something. So there's already a camaraderie between the two of them where it's like, yo, why won't you go help?
Yeah.
Why won't you go do something? And just his lack of care. It was. I had to watch my dad die last year. It's been almost a year since I had to watch my dad lose his life in front of my face. This was the second hardest thing I've had to see since then. I had to watch this man lose his life. Like, you could see the moment where it was just he gave up, and for them not to even check on him. You all right, man? You good? Everything okay? Nothing. It was the most evil thing I've seen.
I would say, man, it's hard, man. It's hard. I mean, it's almost a back-to-back thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, the Aubrey case, and then the young lady who got shot in her house, and then this. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. So it was just hard. I saw the video and I saw part of it, and I was like, I can't. Like, I was angry about it because I felt like everything you guys are saying is true. Like, it was just like he didn't have like, he could have done something different, but he chose not to do something different. If you get what I mean. Like, he didn't have to put his knee on the back of his neck. Like, he didn't have to do that. Like, he didn't have to do that. Like, and to me, it just seems like, and I always said this, and I've said this before, the approach from the police towards black men, it's totally different than white men. You know what I mean? And people just I don't know why people don't realize it. Like, I posted something this morning, a video of a white man. I was on Twitter, a white guy. He's like got something in his hand going towards the police, and they trying to calm him down. It's almost like if you ever saw the movie Higher Learning, when after they beat up Omar Epps, they go towards Michael Rappaport character, and they come in. He has a gun in his hand, and they trying to talk him out of like killing himself, and he killed himself anyway. And it's just like the approach is different, and I think that's what we are upset about. Besides his death of him dying the way he died, is y'all approach towards us. It's totally different than than other races, and it's not fair. But it's a problem.
I feel like this country too, we do two things great. One is racism. We like the Golden State Warriors of racism, and undefeated dynasty. The only people who can do it better than us is Great Britain. And then also we do ignorance well. And if you notice, we live in a country of victim shaming. Like, that's what this country does more than anything else. This is the only country where a woman will get raped and people be like, well, she shouldn't have dressed like that. Or, they'd be like, immigrants are taking our jobs. I'm like, who hired the immigrants? Like, they went to a plant, like a meat packing plant in Kentucky. And they like rounded up all these immigrants or whatever because they were like illegal, but didn't touch the people who own the company. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. And
especially even with our country and police brutality, man, or you think about slavery. Like, police would do the most heinous stuff to us and hang us and be like, well, he was disobedient to like reconcile their own sin. You know what I'm saying? So this is what our country is known for, man. But even think about the conversation we're having right now. We got 4 black men watching this stuff, and when it gets into your system, man, you legitimately have PTSD. Like, I can't watch them. Like, I can't watch a lot of those videos. Like, I take my time. If I can watch it, I can. If I don't, I stay away from it because my heart can't take it. Because I get angry, and I get my PTSD flare up, and I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, I get angry.
Yeah, I chose, and that's the one thing I chose not to show the Ahmaud Arbery killing when we talked about that, and I chose not to show this killing today because I'm just tired of seeing it, man. I had to watch it because I know I have to be factual when I talk about this stuff, or people use any little thing to say, oh, well, you don't really know what you're talking about and all that kind of stuff. So I do it because I know I'm fighting not just against, there's tons of people where they'll find any excuse to discredit all of this and ignore this and move on with their lives. But I'm trying my best to say, okay, I actually know what happened here. I actually know. And I normally don't engage online, but I had several arguments yesterday. I just had to admit I had several arguments because I was just like, I'm tired. I'm tired of Christians. I'm tired of white Christians making excuses for this. I just have to be honest, and I have to apologize because a lot of times on this show I've said, you know what, let's not talk about that because we have white fans too. I don't want to alienate them. This ain't just a black show. But I'm tired of doing that, man. If you don't see this as a problem, you can go somewhere else. Honestly, we're black men. We're Christians. This matters to us, and it should matter to you too. Now I just don't understand the lack of care. if you're a Christian, how could you not care about this?
Yeah.
How could you not care about us? Weep with those who weep, mourn with those who mourn. Why are you not mourning right now? Why are you making excuses for this man? I'm.
But it hurts.
This ain't the day.
I think about even when you give a person privilege, there's so many blind spots to privilege that you can't even have compassion for a human being. Like the fact that I'm a black person from the hood, you see every different type of person, and you know I can look in a person's eyes within 2 seconds and tell if they're mentally ill or not.
Yeah.
But again, when you're not around people that are like that,
absolutely,
and you see them, they're a threat to you, and it just hurts my heart that. You know, I have a sister that's mentally ill or whatever, but I can tell when somebody's, not all the way there. But I've seen video footage of somebody who's, autistic or something and can't control themselves. And you're asking them to remain calm while they're in a very threatening position, and stuff like that breaks my heart. But again, when you don't know us, you can't police us.
And that explains what Jeremiah was talking about, why there's such a big difference between how we're treated. When you see somebody that looks like you or looks like somebody you have a compassion for them. You can make excuses for them. You can give them the benefit of the doubt because you know people like them. If you see this person that looks threatening to you and you have no reference for them, you have no regard for them. And that's what we feel. And for the people watching this at home, they're like, you know what? Here they go again, talking about this stuff again. It's not always about race and blah, blah, blah. And the reaction I saw to what was going on in Atlanta last night and the comments that I saw flowing from Christians online about that, if you can look at that and not see that is your fault, you're missing something. The reaction to what happened last night in Atlanta and across the world is the reason why we have this problem. Because you're going to use that as an excuse to kill the next person next time. They act like animals. Look at how they're reacting. Look at how they are. And I feel so bad because they looted Fifth Plaza. They hit up the Omni and the CNN Center. And they're going to use that as a reason to kill the next black person.
But they're gonna to the courthouse in Michigan. They went to like the state house in Michigan.
They went to the White House. They went everywhere.
No, with guns though. They had guns.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Guns. Nothing happened. No tear gas. No show of force. No curfew.
But this one is different though.
Nothing.
This is like this moment in time is very different. Where they got white people fighting on the front lines with us. Like I seen this cop push this white lady so hard in Minnesota. He pushed her to my app store. Like she was. Hey. Bruh, he pushed her from my phone screen to my app store. I'm like, what you doing? She was right next to Candy Crush. Like, I want to get out of here. I'm like, I don't know how to help you, man. Like, he pushed her from the riot all the way to the app store.
Yeah.
One of the things that bothers me is when I see people in this time still talking about trivial stuff, right? Like, to me, when you have a situation like this, and you can still say something about the lockdown, right? You can still say something about reopening the government. It's like, we'll come back to that. But right now, we have a more important pressing issue. I got mad at somebody the other day on social media. It was just like, don't you hate it when your neighbors walk their dogs and just let them go all in your yard? I was like, what? Like, are you seriously putting this on social media right now? We got other issues. That are real
this ain't the time. This ain't the time.
Yeah. With the half-naked selfies. Selling your tummy tea? Like, not now, fam. Put the tea up. We need to... The world falling apart. You're trying to sell some tummy tea. Put your clothes back on.
Exactly. And it's just...
on Monday.
It's the ability not to care that's part of that privilege that we're talking about. And I'll say this. I'm pro-life as well. I understand the desire for you to be pro-life, but a lot of you Christians, a lot of you evangelical Christians love you. You're term life Christians. You're not whole life Christians. You're term life. You only care about life for a little bit of time. You don't care about the whole life. If you were really pro-life, you would care about this more than you do. I don't want to hear you complain about no embryos and babies in the womb if you don't care about this. You're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
You're not really pro-life. I am. Yeah. You're not. So I'm just tired of the excuses. I'm done with it.
That's wrong.
You have to participate. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. That's the measuring stick for a Christian, ain't it? Being pro-life and pro-choice, isn't that a measuring stick?
It is. Yeah. And they only care about black lives until they look menacing to them.
Yeah.
They love black babies. They don't care about black men.
Man, when I hear white people like, I don't see color, like you never see colors until the cop show up. Like it was a black guy. Yeah, he was a Negro. Yeah, he was kind of an urban
Albany.
Urban Albany.
Like a beige-ish kind of individual. I'm not saying he's black. I mean, he's urban. He told me to put a leash on my dog.
You know, a lot
that happened this week too. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that happened this week too.
We're only talking about one of the 10 things that happened this week. One of the 10.
Yeah.
Being black this week.
And then Kylie Jenner is not a billionaire. Isn't that crazy?
You gonna put Kylie Jenner with us, right?
I did. I want that. Yeah. I knew it was a lie. I knew it.
You know what else is a problem too? And this is the start of the problem is, they keep talking about the rise of the Karens. That is definitely a problem because you see on social media that, they capture them on video too, just making Black lives more miserable, making Black lives harder, making the situation escalate. Like Sean said the other day on our call, he was like, I would feel terrible if I was that person who called in the check, the fraudulent check or the forgery or whatever. Like, okay, all right, yeah. So somebody got away with that, right? I mean, Jeremiah's been in a situation where he said, he's worked for a company and they were getting robbed, and it's like, step back and let them take what they got to take because life is not worth that.
Well, we can all have a fake $20 bill right now.
Yeah, like how am I supposed to
know it? And not know it.
Common.
But
I will say this too, man, because the media has a lot of control over how we're viewed, and that's why I feel like even as Black people, words are important. Like we are responsible for how we're viewed. We're not responsible for it, but we can help in the and how we talk to each other, and how we're seeing each other. Like for me, being a Black comedian, I'm a clean Black comedian. And I'm mindful of how I present myself. Because even when I'm mad sometimes, I can't do it because it's not the right time to be mad.
Right.
You gotta decide whether you want to be a nigga. Shut up and get that check. You done had that moment at work where, somebody say something slick, it's nice, nasty, and you gotta decide you want to be a nigga. But you get that check. Or you at the office party and they're like, hey, come on, show me that dance. We know you know it. And you gotta decide whether you want to be a nigga. We all have that moment. But again, man, I don't know what it is where they depreciate our skin just because we showed up, man. Like, think about it. One of the biggest shows on Netflix to date is Tiger King.
Yes.
What's the difference between Tiger King and Michael Vick?
Yeah.
What's the difference? What's the difference between Michael Vick and Tiger King? Besides the animal.
That's true.
Now, I do hate Carol Baskin, and I know she killed her husband. Yeah, outside of her killing her husband, which we know she did it. Yes. Carol Baskin killed her husband. She whacked him.
I saw that video.
Tiger King, when we talked down about Michael Vick, and he did his time. Did his time.
And he can't even get, every time they want to put him like in a Hall of Fame or something, it's like, no, we can't, because they're going to protest it.
Can't even let him be the captain of the Pro Bowl, like crazy stuff.
Like, it's like, why?
Well,
they won't let him get a Sam's Club membership.
Well, we had this conversation. We had this conversation a couple of years ago, and I remember. I don't know if there's anybody on this show. I think it was more of the comments of the universe. When I said that there's certain things that I have to go through in order not to get myself caught up, right? Like I said, when I go into a store to buy hair care products, I always go to the front counter to make sure they see my face and make sure they see my eyes, and so that they don't think that I'm somebody that needs to walk around. I don't wear my wave cap when I'm driving anymore because I've been pulled over by the police for having on a wave cap, right? And so it's unfair, but it's something that we have to teach young Black men, is that you have to look inconspicuous as much as you can, because you're going to get profiled if you don't. And, I work for the nonprofit organization that works with young adults to help get them acclimated with society and culture and how to dress properly and stuff like that. And when we talk about the different hairstyles that they may want to avoid, they get offended. And it's like, but you understand that what we're telling you is to save you. from a lot of anguish and a lot of pain. And I think a lot of people shunned me that time when I spoke about this, saying like, you shouldn't have to do all that. Why are you jumping through hoops? You shouldn't. But I'm also a father of 3 young girls, and I want to make it home, right? I've been in situations where I've had road rage and somebody got mad at me and jumped out the car, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep my eyes looking forward because I got to get home. You know, it was actually on my birthday, and so I'm like, I got to make it home today, so I can't look back at him and give him a nasty look. Otherwise, it's gonna be on. Same thing with the police, right? Same thing. Yeah. So we, as black men, we have to go that extra mile. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it gives you comfort and peace to return back home. And I know a lot of people don't agree.
I was going to say this too, man. I feel like it's also in our toolbox. As a young black kid, you learn at an early age, you have to do a lot of stuff just to make white people comfortable. Like if you're approaching them, and it's a dark road, it's just y'all two, you got to speak first to make sure they don't be threatening. Yes. Or when you get on the elevator, we got to stand closer to the buttons, because if you stand in the back and the white lady come up, it's going to be a problem. But you got to stand next to the buttons. So when you pull up, you know, around white people, you got to turn your music down. Like, it's just so much stuff that we have to do that's in our DNA that we have to do just to make them comfortable.
What do we have to, help me, what do we have to say to convince you? Like, I just don't know what else needs to be said. We show you the video. I'm telling you that I'm not talking about other black people. I'm talking about me. I'm scared. This is not just some theoretical thing we're talking about here. Yeah. We are scared. You don't believe us neither? You think we making it up? Yeah. What does it take? I just don't understand.
It's willful ignorance. They can have a whole pet wolf instead of a black man with no arms. They can have a whole pet gorilla and a wolf in the house, kissing them in the mouth. And we're a threat because we're waiting on some coffee with our friend.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm tired. I'm tired, man.
By the way, I'm right that down.
Yeah, please do that.
You know, Sean
is working on some material right now. Remember where you got this one from.
After Philando Castile was killed, I made a comment to Sean, and it was basically like, there's nothing else we can do. Right, we have shown our hands.
I remember that.
We have shown our hands. We have put them on 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. Right, and I don't carry a weapon, but he even said that I have a concealed weapon. I have a car. I have a weapon in the car, and so it's just like, at what point are we gonna say, all right, do we stop driving? Is this quarantine the best situation to keep us alive? Like, yeah. You know what? That was
they won't even keep driving it.
When I was working back at 107.9, I was too enamored with the whole, you know, celebrity radio life and rapper lifestyle. And I had a black car.
He's not lying, ladies and gentlemen. I saw it. I was there.
Black car, black tinted windows, and black rims. And I was pulled over, and I was just like, my dad was terrified. He was like, man, you got me in this car driving.
You fit this. You fit the description.
Yeah. You look like this. Paper boy, like you've been, you know, dealing out paper. And I was just like, yeah. And I didn't realize it until I got back to work one day, and I had a brand new boss. Distinguished black man, and I said, you know, brand new boss. Yeah, like he had just got
phrase to sound funny. Like he came on Amazon in the mail. And he was black too. He was the last one on the show. The last one. One more and stop.
And it didn't hit me until we were going out on a sales call, and I was just like, I'll drive. And I had just gotten my car washed, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna impress him. And he walked out. And he looked at my car. He was like, this is what you drive? And I was like, yeah. He said, no, we're going to take my car. And I was just like, oh. And I didn't realize it, but he explained to me. He said, that is a menacing looking vehicle that you're driving right now. He was like, you're going to scare anybody who you pull up to that know who you are.
And what kind of car
was it? And that's when it was a black Volvo. But it was all black. It was crazy. Yeah, it was all black. It was all black.
I don't know a black person that owns
like Christine. Remember that car movie, Christine?
I got that too. Yeah.
He pulled up in an all black Subaru, like Subaru. He's a murderer. A Subaru?
Yeah.
It was a station wagon, all black.
I got pictures of it, man. The
rims on it. A Subaru.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so you learn at an early age to mature yourself past certain things. I called one of my friends the other day, and I was like, remember when we used to ride around with 15s in our trunks and bumping loud music? You know, that was cool until we saw Jordan Davis get killed for it. Like, oh, come on, man. We can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, and it's sad that I don't think people realize that. I mean, I just had PTSD when Ron was talking about all the things he had to do about the elevator and turn your music down. Like, this is real. This is my everyday. I ride around my neighborhood and I turn the music down sometimes and I turn it up other times. Why am I doing that? Because I'm worried that y'all gonna say something and turn me into somebody that's gonna kill me. Like, I literally fear all the time. Do I have to tell you this every week? Do we gotta talk about this every week? This is
Ron,
real.
Check this out. I was in my driveway and my white neighbor pulled up to me and was like, "Hey, do you live here? What, are you waiting on somebody? What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I own this house." And he was just like, "Oh, okay, all right, well, that's fine."
Like, I raised you one in my condo.
Okay.
There's a parking garage. One is covered and the other one's like has a door on it. And me and this white lady pulled up in my garage at the same time. And so she backed her truck into the garage, but I think she was anticipating us getting out the car at the same time to go to the same door to go inside the building. And she got out so fast and pressed the button from the door to go inside the building and closed the garage down on her hood.
Oh, wow.
So she had to get back in her car and back it up and then go back in inside the building. But then she had to speak to me. And I was like, you got to go through all that? Like, just not to speak to me? Or you close the garage door down on your car? Like, what are you doing? Stupid.
Oh, man.
Too, man. It's so funny, man. Like, we just live in a time where there's so much stuff we have to do. Like, we've been so acclimated to like making sure they're comfortable that it drives me nuts when I hear a black woman say, "I'm going natural."
Yeah.
Like, you're going natural. The way your hair naturally grows out your head, you call it going natural because of what you're used to, what your standard is.
That's crazy.
Versus like, I'm just letting my hair grow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going natural. No, your hair is like, that's how it's supposed to be.
That's interesting.
It's ingrained in us too, and that's why I think there's a disconnect because people say, "Well, what if the cop was black? Would you still?" Black people are racist too towards black people. It's ingrained in us too. We've learned to be.
You see some people click.
We've learned to be afraid of each other as well. Like, this, it's permeated us.
Is that really racism though? Is that really racism? Just say it. We scared of niggas. I said it.
You in the field today. I ain't apologizing for none of this.
Yes.
But no, seriously, like, so just because a cop that may be black, I've been harassed by black cops. Like, that makes no difference. It's
the worst ones, bro.
Yeah, because it's this idea of I have power. These are my friends. I'm protecting the shield. I see you the same way they do, honestly. So I'm just like
Officer Jackson, if your name.
it's no different sometimes. So that's not an excuse. That doesn't detract away from what we're talking about. It's still the idea that black people inherently are animals, or they're less than. And they're going to use these images that they're showing on TV right now to prove why they're going to do it again in the future. Cop is going to say, "Look at what I have to deal with." And they're going to say, "That's why I'm scared." And then it goes start all over again, over and over again.
So my question is for you fellas, man, how do you manage the anger? How do you manage that chip on your shoulder? For me, sometimes I got to unplug and make sure I keep my light bright, because if I don't, I want to be in dark on the stage and I can't let it affect my art. How do you all unpack a lot of that trauma that we go through? Like, because again, all of us watching these videos all the time. Like, you see at least 5 of these videos a day. Or when something happened, how many times a day do you say, "Man, if they was black"? How many times you say that a day?
That's very true.
Up to 6 a day. Like, if they was
man,
black,
we wouldn't have got away with that one. Yeah, I would say this. As a Christian, you have the ultimate stabilizer, right? Vengeance is the Lord's. And you have to constantly remind yourself that I can take vengeance out myself. I could go out and break some stuff and hit somebody or whatever, but it's never going to be as complete and as fine-tuned and as righteous and as pure as if God dealt with that situation. I have to trust that he actually cares about this too. And if I let him take vengeance on the people that need vengeance, taking care of them, then he's going to make sure that something actually changes. If I do it, I'm going to make the news, I'm going to be in jail, I'm going to be without my family. Like, there's no way I can really do it purely. So I really believe God cares. I really believe God exists. And I really believe God is a God of justice. And I trust that he is going to bring justice. I do.
That is the Christian answer. But if somebody touched my wife, bro.
Oh, I told everybody on the call, if this was my brother that got killed, I'm throwing something at something. I ain't saying what. I ain't saying who. I'm not saying
touch my lady, and I can hear her crying for her life, bro.
Throwing something.
It's going to be a problem. So I can't wait on God on this one. God, I got this one.
I told him
out of jail,
and that's part of the problem. Is it's easier to get by if this doesn't hit you at home. Yeah. And I'm trying to tell people that if this was your family member, how would you respond? It should be the same response here. Yeah. It should be the same care here. Why is it different? Because if this happened to you, you would want somebody to defend you too, right?
Yeah. No? I think the scary part about it is when you see people filming the situation and want to do something, but then you realize, like, if I jump out there, then I'm about to start fighting the cops. And fighting the cops is totally different than fighting.
But it's strength in numbers too, though, man. Sometimes that adrenaline flowing, if a bunch of people make it plain and at least try to help the person out that's on the ground about some time, that's a good starting point.
So that's a good point. The last thing, and some people brought this up on our call. The thing that really made me cry watching the video is the whole time it's something inside of me said, I still feel like while you're watching it, you still feel like if you yell loud enough, they'll stop. It's that feeling of, man, if I was there, what would I have done to make them stop? Should I have actually intervened? Should I have pushed him? Even if it cost me my life, should I have done? What could I have done in that situation? Because I'm sitting there at my screen, and in the moment, I know this is already past. I'm still like, get off! What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And
Ryan, what was that exhale, Ryan?
Because I felt that same thing when I was watching it. It was just like, what do you do? What do you do in that moment?
Would you? Because the only thing in my crazy brain was, would you go over and push them off? Like even if they come and attack you, at least it'll give them a chance to. I mean, like what could you do in that moment?
My is like crazy. I done pushed the bouncer because he touched my wife. Like this dude way bigger than me. I don't know what I was thinking, but he was like, "Yo, back up," and he pushed my lady. I'm like, I just pushed him out. Like, bro, don't touch my lady. Like we can hear you. Like just tell us what to do, but don't touch her. And so my instincts in general. I'm not one of those people like what I would have did was I'm not one of those people, but again, I don't like seeing people get hurt. I just personally, I can't watch fight videos. I can't watch, people getting slapped, getting their head slapped all the way around. I don't like watching people get hurt. So just my natural instincts would be one at least like run and push them and just keep running or something. You know what I'm saying? Just to buy some time, man.
Yeah, and that's what I felt. So what? Okay, so. We feel like this is bad. This is outrageous. What are we supposed to do? What are the people on the street yelling and confronting? What is the right way to do this? What's the answer?
But the problem is too, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I think the right answer is what they're doing, honestly, because I feel like people don't like riots, but at the same time, it's like when we tell every generation has been told to do something that they feel like. It's no more, like we can't do this no more. It's not working. You know what I mean? That's what you're constantly hearing. You've seen the people comments online like, hey man, we've been praying, we've been protesting, we've been singing, we've been doing all this, and we riot. Now what's next? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing we're hearing people say, what's next? That's crazy after rioting. Like if riot don't work, what we gonna do next? Start killing people? So I think the thing is letting people do the anger, because sooner or later it's gonna stop. I mean, people ain't gonna.
They've been poking the bear for over 400 years. You can't keep poking the bear and expect nothing to happen.
Yeah, so I think that's just one of those things where it's just like, I think let people get out their frustration. Let people get out their frustration and let people really share how they feel. You know what I mean? And really talk and let America hear the anger that they created.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all saw this though, but the Atlanta chief of police, she did something really dope, man. She was down there on ground level at the CNN Center listening to the people, and they were angry and yelling at her, and people hostile, but she still tried to listen. And I feel like that's a great starting point, because it's not our responsibility to make it work with the police. The police have to make it work with us.
Absolutely.
If you've been abusive in the household and you change your life and get saved, and now you want to act like ain't nothing happened, like, no, you got to repair the damage you did. You can't just say I love God now and I'm better. It's like being in an abusive relationship, and we've been in that. We've been the battered wife in America, for over 400 years. We the away team. Black people being black in America is being the away team your entire life, and white folks got a 400-year home court advantage. You know what I'm saying? And we'll always have it. It's not our responsibility to make us feel accommodated.
Yeah, and I broke down watching that, because the second young lady that talked, you could see that just being able to be heard without a defense, and that's the last thing I want to say before we go, because I've been hearing from white brothers and sisters that care, that want to be helpful. The thing that you have to resist is the urge to defend yourself. It's not the time. Even if you are participating and you're trying to do the right thing and voice your assistance and all that kind of stuff, and you get backlash from people, well, that's not enough, you got to take that. You got to hold your tongue, and you just got to do the right thing, even if it's not received, even if it's not accepted, even if you get stuff back that you feel is not fair. You have to hold your tongue, and I'm not good at that. When I feel like I'm being wrong and something is said that's wrong, I get angry. But you have to try. This is not the time to defend yourself and say, well, that's not me, and da-da-da. It's not helpful right now. Just do the right thing and be quiet. Because all that extra, well, I didn't do it, and no, I've been doing this, and that is irrelevant right now. Please, just take the blows.
Too, man. It's like in a relationship, and even with when you adopt an animal, you take into consideration people been through stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like when you meet somebody, you can tell they have thorns. You listen. You don't just say, "Oh, you was raped before." Like, what? You been raped? I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know that there's a cost that comes along with it. When you adopt an animal and the animal's been through trauma, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that's going to set them off. So the fact that you can listen to somebody in your family, somebody you date, you can listen to see an animal has been through some stuff. When a black person tell you, look, stop killing me, it immediately goes to, you guys are complaining, you guys are angry, you guys are.
What did he do?
I gotta see the entire footage. Like, we don't get the luxury of having mental illness. We don't get the luxury of having trauma. We don't get the luxury of having PTSD. We don't get the luxury of not staying calm. Everybody else get to do it. Yeah. You got to understand, when a gun in our face, we need to remain calm, or your knee is in my back, I have to remain calm. That's not fair. Yeah. And again, I know I'm running my mouth too much, but as a black person, when did you learn that the world is not fair? You have to learn this at an early age, that they can say fair all the time. When they make arguments, well, it's not fair that immigrants get this. It's not fair that black, like, we know it's not fair. From the time you're a kid and you see that one kid get something that you didn't get, and they didn't even work half as hard as you, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you playing this white football team and all of them trash and they get a trophy too. And you're like, whoa. How they get a trophy? They lost them. They get a trophy too? Like, it's not fair. Yeah.
No, that's good.
We're not allowed to use that word.
That's good. All right. So hope you hear it. We'll be back with more Ron G.